Welcome everybody back. This is your host, Chuck Tiz, and at this point, it's almost like my co-host, the special, returning, Too Woke to Go Motherfucking Broke. Too Woke, what's going on? How you doing?
Oh man, nothing much. Just living good, eating good.
Living good, eating good, fucking good.
That's all you can ask for, you know?
All the necessities of life.
Yeah.
All the necessities of life. Well, thanks for being on the show with me again, Mr. Co-host at this point, because you're basically got all my fucking shows.
Yes, sir.
And spitting knowledge on Tiz Talk fam. So, but yeah, Tiz Talk fam. I don't know what episode it is. I'm going to continue to say this. So I'll come up with the title. I think we're at 30 something, maybe 20 something. It doesn't matter because I delete episodes and it doesn't matter. What the point is I've been trying to get better about structuring this pod for different reasons. I know I keep saying that. I'm repeating myself, and no. But I really do. Like, I'm gonna start. I'm really am gonna make an effort to drop at least once a week. I really am. Whether it's myself or whoever, but I have some certain topics. Like if I do it once a week. I really do want to focus on and get the opinions of, Tiz Talk fam. I want to get y'all's opinions or on how this whole year has affected your mental state of mind. Because I know a lot of you, you are not alone. Me personally, yes, I have definitely. I'm not going to say that I necessarily need therapy or anything, but it is always good to talk to somebody. But the good thing is I have a lot of good friends that if I'm struggling, like Too Woke or anybody else, Larry, any of the special guests, I can reach out to them. And it's been very helpful. But again, the podcast has been the most therapeutical thing for the Tiz. And, we've got some really, really good shows in the past. I mean, all the top rated shows basically now are, ones that just me and you are on, well, except for the archives episode.
Yeah.
Which was obviously a classic with Stiz with his lowercase s. I'm going to stop saying silent. And if Tiz fam, you don't know what I'm talking about, just go back, look to the episodes called From the Archives, and you'll really enjoy that episode. But anyways, it is November 24th. Now, this episode will obviously be dropped not on November 24th, but I'm just telling you, it's Tuesday night, and this is the Tiz Talk Thanksgiving special. That doesn't mean we're going to talk so deeply into Thanksgiving. It's just the Thanksgiving special and what's going on right now. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight.
Oh yeah.
We won't run it too long, fam, but so Too Woke, I was looking up some articles, and I don't need to look them all up. I mean, I think me and you have a pretty clear idea of what's going on right now.
As far as
politics, stock markets, the global shift of wealth.
They keep talking about that, but in actuality, I mean, the motherfuckers at the top are just getting richer. That's real. And then there's there are some tech guys getting rich out of nowhere, but for the most part, the money's staying where they want it to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't deny that there has been the lucky few or whatever, or lucky many that have definitely taken advantage of this. And there's definitely in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think that there are. I really do think there is a shift of wealth happening right now.
Well, there is. I mean, there is, and a lot of people are making millions of dollars, but I still think all that money ends up back. It's kind of like a cycle. You see a big boom, and then when the bust happens, like all those same paid people actually make more.
Yeah,
when all
but
the
we're in a
shit-
different age right now, though.
We are. Things are moving faster, but at the end of the day, I think things get blown out of proportion like these days faster, which means that the lows um, could be lower,
Yeah.
but more rapid, and so it's like who's doing good this week and then who's doing good next week.
Yeah, and honestly, it's basically, I mean, it's the way I see it, Two Oak, is that, well, I lost my train of thought, but I had a good point. But
Here's what I see is like when you're dealing with these new money guys, right? Like old money is like the octopus, it's got its hands in everything, right? Like
like the Octopussy.
yeah, you know what I mean though, like that old picture of like the Monopoly, it was like Standard Oil and it was the big picture of that octopus like wrecking the world, because it was like it just had its hand in everything.
Was that that was a newspaper like article?
Yeah, it was just like, like people trying to do the trust busting back then of like the huge barons that just owned everything, and that was like that comes with more power than just the money, right? Like a guy like a Mark Zuckerberg, for example. Like, yes, he has a lot of money and he has a lot of power, but like he still doesn't control every facet of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them old guys, like they own the oil that you used in your car, they own the steel that your car was made out of, they own the rubber that your tires were. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like a different type of A to Z, like owning everything that you use. You know what I mean? Whereas these tech guys, like they're high flyers, but you wonder like how sustainable it is for a lot of them.
Well, that's why they've been having all these court hearings with like Facebook, Google, not Twitter, but Amazon, and who am I missing? Apple.
Yeah.
And it's for different reasons, but like it's all about people's information that are getting passed around, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And to bring that up, I just rewatched an interview with just recently with Snowden, and it was Snowden and Joe Rogan.
Okay.
It's a really good. Snowden is that guy.
He's sharp.
Sharp, and you know what? I think he's going to be able to come back to the States one day because they. I can't remember exactly what happened, but like he's trying to get back to the States, and he had a big winning. In the I think it was the Supreme Court, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. I think Trump, he's on his way out anyway. He should do something good and let Snowden back in or something like that. That'd be fresh.
He ain't gonna do it. I highly doubt it.
No, he ain't, but you know what I mean? Just somebody's got to do it. It's the right thing to do. I mean, he told everybody what we already knew was going on anyway, but
not to the extent that we really knew.
He confirmed it. Well, you knew that. If you talk to your typical, outside thinker, they knew the government.
Oh yeah, and they're still, and you know what?
Yeah.
They're still doing it even after.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are.
And shouts to Snowden for just calling it out. And actually, what I was getting at now, I can remember. He basically. I don't know if it was the Supreme Court or I don't know who it was, but they deemed that basically he's going to be, I don't want to say it's for sure, but what the Supreme Court or whoever who reviewed it said Well, I guess this is how the Constitution works. Like, if you can prove the American government was doing something legal, and then the court sees it as legal, then and it happened. The government. I don't know if it was Supreme Court or whatever department, but they deemed it that the government was doing illegal things, and it was a huge win on Snowden's behalf.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, like whistleblower type shit.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, like because he was able to prove that they were doing that.
Yeah.
And
well, we always are doing illegal shit, and every government does, but ours, is definitely no less than anyone else, and maybe more than most.
Well, of course.
When you got your hands in every cookie jar, you're gonna get down in the dirt. But
every time.
I wanted to backtrack just a little bit though. You were talking about the big transfer of wealth, and I was just kind of thinking like the only guy who's really got his hands, I'd say Google, Apple, and Amazon are really the three companies that are kind of like the online versions of like an actual titan of industry, if you want to talk about internet and e-commerce, and just you use them for a lot of shit, day to day, whereas like a company like Facebook, Instagram, like they kind of have a monopoly on like social media, but don't you think at some point something else is going to come along that kind of like kicks some of these to the curb a little bit more, like Facebook's value? I just don't like long term. I don't know, man. I personally see it kind of like dwindling. There's no guarantee. People act like Facebook's just guaranteed to always be like, heavily used. And
it's heavily used in like mostly like third world countries. That's where they get their news. Like Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because that's to these people in third world countries, they think that's like the internet. They treat it as the internet.
Well, it is for them. It's when our news sucks, but in other countries, like it's really bad. You know what I mean? Like they'd just be straight up like, towing the government line every step of the way. You know what I mean? Whereas, don't get me wrong, in America, like we got a big media conglomerates that obviously work with the propaganda machines, you know what I mean? But at least you get like, you hear about some shit at least, you know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
So I mean, you think Facebook's like, 20 years from now, Facebook, you think will still be like as prominent as it is today?
And wait, time frame what?
Like a 20-year time frame. Like say you were looking at at some stocks you just wanted to hold for 20, 30 years, right? Like retirement type shit.
Would I invest in Facebook? Absolutely not.
Do you think Facebook is a long term, like 20 years down the line? You think Facebook is like? Because I don't.
Like, I agree. I don't.
I'm not saying it won't, but I just think other things will come out by that time.
Of course.
Like, granted, they have all the.
Look at TikTok and look at all these things, and it's like, in 10 years. 10 to 20 years, Facebook might be completely irrelevant.
Yeah, that's what I feel like in my gut. I feel like long term, but maybe they just have so much money that they'll just buy out anybody that's dope.
Well, that's their MO.
Yeah, but it's like, after a while, like that can you can kind of cannibalize just your company from the inside out, like over a long term period.
I'm on the same page with you for sure on that, without a doubt. But yeah, I mean, this whole thing's crazy, and now we've hit just today. I'm just going to say this real quick. The United States picked up their highest case count. 175,000 new cases. Now, given I get it, they're testing more, but today was the first time, and I think since I think since May or April, or it could have been like June, that we've seen over 2,000 new deaths today.
I'll tell you what, man. It's finally here, like in Knoxville. Like, I mean, I know it was always probably here a little bit, but I just never really heard about anybody getting it, you know. And now, like, a lot of people that I'm hearing about people getting it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like
I saw that,
if you're
too.
out
I
there,
saw that Tennessee was getting kind of hit a little hard now.
yeah, I think it was mostly like Memphis and Nashville, you know, especially Nashville with all the tourism, and now it's, you know, it's made its way this way, and it's definitely starting to go around here. Like I've heard of quite a few people getting it recently, so you know, I think it's just that's the thing about, and I don't you know necessarily think that there's much that can be done about it at this point, but it's like people now don't really want to give a shit anymore because it's like we've been dealing with it so long, you know. And right now is actually the time when you're more likely to get it, you know.
I mean, well, I can't disagree with you on that.
So I feel like it wasn't really in a lot of places as much, you know, like when they actually were like, you know, shutting everybody down and shit like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, look, I've been saying it from the beginning, though. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's going to be kind of a telling time because everyone goes to meet each other, you know, and then they go back to where they came.
Yeah, and then you got Christmas right around the corner.
So I think you're going to see a big, major fucking spike, you know, come January, you know.
Yep.
But if you got this vaccine coming out, I guess a lot of people will take it. You know, I won't take no damn first vaccine.
I'm not going to be the first. Look, just like Joe Rogan said on his last pod, I like he made a good point. He's like, you know what? If it, I'm not. He goes, I'm not going to be the first one to take it, but if it seems legit and the doctors are backing it, the legitimate doctors and this, that, and the other, he's like, yeah, I'll take it, but I'm not going to be the first one in line.
Yeah, exactly. So, which pretty much means that you don't want to take the first go around. I mean, which is understandable. But anybody with kids, they're going to make you take it and they're going to make your kid take it probably to go back to school. So be prepared for that if you got kids out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tiz does not have any kids out there.
That's how they get you, man. That's how they get you when you got the kids. They can make you, you know, make you get down on a lot of this shit. And I'm not I'm like by no means an anti-vaccine person. Like, but this is just common sense. Like when they rush to do something,
that's exactly what I was. Exactly what I was just gonna say. It's like yeah, it's a brand new vaccine. They're rushing it. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be the first one to line up, you know, but you know, I'll wait and see, and you know, haven't caught it yet, and that's because the Tiz has not really been socializing and going out with all these other idiots and you know, in Houston and all over the place, and it's just like, you know, look. I thought I had it a couple times, got tested, came out negative. I haven't gotten it yet, okay? And I know a friend of mine, who basically almost died. He's younger than I am. Yeah, wow. No, just recently. He's still in the hospital. His lung shut down. He's 30.
Heavy smoker?
No. Healthy dude.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's recovering, and I think he should be out of the hospital soon. But yeah, for someone who's 30 years old, to basically, he was like, you know, if he hadn't gotten to the hospital soon enough, he would have died.
Wow.
Yeah, he was on a ventilator and shit for 7 days.
Dang.
And, well, you know, I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
We won't go into depth, but yeah. It's just crazy, man. Like, I called this back in April. I said, wait till the winter hits and wait till people don't like when Thanksgiving and people aren't, looking, being cautious. Like, and I know me, I am in not any way, like I want the stores, I don't want them to shut down our economy. Okay, again,
No,
I don't.
no.
But at the same time,
it won't do anything. If it would do something, I maybe before it won't. Do
no, I
anything.
agree. But what I'm saying is the only thing I guess is if I'm sorry to say this, but if you ignorant Americans, you keep going out like at clubs and stuff, it takes one person in that entire club or restaurant to have it and touch something, and then you get it and you wouldn't even know, and then next thing you know, you got 40 people catching it one night, and they're going to go home and then they're going to talk to their, that's how it spreads, these little parties. And
yeah,
like there was one point of the year I thought this was just a big hoax, right? Well, it's not. And especially after seeing my friend almost, lose his life.
You thought it was a hoax?
I didn't think it was a hoax. I didn't know what to think at the beginning, too, Oak. I really didn't. I mean, think about it. It's like, is this just some type of crazy play, like a false flag kind of thing? Like, I don't know. I mean, I had to think about everything and, what made sense to me. Was the coronavirus really, did it come from a wet market, with, animal to animal transition, and then, obviously the human, if you get like the pig or whatever the fuck. But what I'm getting at is, and then there's other people that say, oh no, it was made in the lab. That's why Trump calls it the China virus. Because that's basically an implication, like without having to say it, that, this is the China virus, like it's not China virus. China virus. Did you see what happened with Trump today when he came out just to brag about the stock market being the Dow hitting 30,000 for the first time, and then he just walked out?
Yeah. Well, I do have to give him credit on this. I mean, everyone was saying it would be like way longer till a vaccine comes out, and it sounds like this Pfizer vaccine actually is going to come out.
Well, I'm
not saying he has anything to do with that. It seems
like Trump just doesn't really care about anything right now after seeing that. He's just like, I'm going to just go out there and brag that under my presidency, we hit the all-time high. And he goes all-time high 48 times in this administration. And then he said like some other statistic. And I was like, Trump, shut the fuck up. This just makes you look like fucking idiot.
You know what's interesting is the stock market has actually hit a high under every single president.
Because that makes sense. It doesn't take much for it. I mean, like if it goes up, I mean, okay, given the recession, all that. But
and it doesn't mean it ended up. It just means it hit a high at any given time during a president's reign.
Right, and then it could tank like the next day. Because I think the Dow was like getting pretty much to a record right before COVID.
It was
or something like that. I'm not looking at it, but
I mean, these are the times. Look, here's the deal with the stock market, and people need to understand that if you get on board with the companies that are going to do well for the next, are going to be doing business at a high level for the next, 15. No sweat, man. I took some shrooms.
You told me about that, man. So, how long? How was it?
Speaking of tripping. It was dope, man. It had been a while. The last time I did it was with Charlie down in Costa Rica.
That was like in 2016. Yeah, I was living with him, and when he was gone, I had to, help him out in a sense. Business stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. It was a good time. I had some good laughs.
I know. I was so pissed. I wanted to fucking go, and I couldn't because I had to do favors for Charlie.
Yeah.
But anyways,
doing the no. This time, I mean, that was a good time too. One of the only times, like I was out when I was in Costa Rica, it was like Dude, I was just like floating on my back so good out in the ocean on these shrooms, man. I've never been able to swim so good as on those shrooms.
Dude, why do you think this past summer when I, moved into my new place, and
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, like I've taken shrooms, I don't know, a handful of times in my life, and to his family, I'm 34. First time I took him, I was 18, but I only probably took him a handful of times between 18 and 34. And then all of a sudden, or 33, I just turned 34. But a buddy of mine, when I moved into this new spot, I've known him for a long time, but I'm not going to get into the whole cable guy thing. Because he'd be pissed if he heard this on, when he will. But anyways, I ain't seen him since high school, or maybe out every now and then. But he caught wind that I moved a 10-minute walk from his house, and man, he just started coming over. I told myself I wasn't going to do this. But there was something about him that was
shrooms.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was going to say. So when he started coming over, it was cool because I got my new place. I can walk to my office 10 minutes down the block. I can walk wherever. I got a good deal, and I couldn't be happier. And that all comes from to we've already gone through all that stuff, the family stuff. But at the same time, I think that was the best thing that ever happened for me. It has made me so much more independent, and not have the the burden of my parents on my shoulders.
The he said, she said, shit.
The he said, she said, and 2 words to he said, she said, cheeks said. Well, cheeked. 2 words. Suck it.
Them cheeks are known to blow hot air.
Yeah, and they're not as perky as they used to be.
No, of course not.
A little chunk. This is so funny. My little bro was like, "Hey man, you gotta stop talking shit about her on that damn podcast." I was like, we're not saying names.
Oh, that's funny, man.
I was like, what do you want me to do, man? I mean, I can't say too much. I was like, look, man, it's kind of funny. I mean, did you listen to the whole thing? I mean, if you listened to the whole thing, you'd probably laugh. He goes, no, I didn't listen to it. I heard about it. I go, listen to it. Listen to the fucking thing. It's just a funny joke. And I edited it out to the point where it was no real names were dropped. Last name. And it's the best episode. Anyways, I've to this fam, I always go on a tangent. I am sorry. But I mean, Biden 2 hours ago said, America's back. God damn it. America is back, says Biden as he unveils team. Oh, wow. 2 hurt in suspected terror attack at a Swiss store. They're French lockdown to ease after second peak passes. It's already peak passes? Wait, you mean that might have been look, the first fucking wave never ended. These aren't, sorry, it's still the first wave. It never went away. So I hate when they say, after second peak. Well, okay, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. It's not, it's the peak, the second peak of the first wave.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense because everything else I see is that they talk about, oh, it's a third wave. I'm like, no, the first wave has not left and it's probably going to be here for a long time. Now, if the vaccines work, great. I ain't going to be the first one to take that shit. You know what I mean? Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at Anchor. Anchor, thank you so much for sorry. Thank you so much for sponsoring the Tiz Talk podcast. And real quick, shout out Anchor. Thank you, Anchor, for everything you do to make the Tiz Talk podcast possible. You guys, if you really want to do podcasts, it's a good way to start. Because me and Two Oak, we're I don't know how many miles apart, but he's in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm in Houston, Texas. And this sounds like good quality, guys. You just click a link.
Yeah.
It's pretty legit. Now, there are some things that I have to talk to you about, Anchor. Cut the fucking check. But anyways, so do you have anything specifically that you want to talk about a little bit? Like, is there anything that, you might want to bring up? And then there's some funny things I want to talk about after that, and we can call it.
Well, so Google plans fiber optic network to connect via Saudi Arabia and Israel for the first time. So a new fiber optic network would connect historical enemies and open a new corridor for internet traffic. Well, it's kind of interesting. Like, you never really think about how the internet is still a bunch of cables, like going across the ocean and shit like that. Like, it's not.
Oh yeah, no, they have those underground ocean wires,
fiber optics. Yeah, it's not really.
They're like deep sea.
Yeah, so like in a new war, like if a big war ever broke out, like a lot of these cables would be major points that you'd have to protect, because you could literally get like your Western seaboard, cut off of internet by cutting like a dozen cables deep in the ocean. Now, I'm sure that's easier said than done, to actually fuck with these, but where there's a will, there's a way kind of deal. So it's just kind of interesting to think like that's a new resource that would be focused on, from a strategic standpoint, that kind of connects countries to each other,
No, I totally agree. And not only that, sorry guys, Tizam, I don't have all the padding in the carpet yet. I still have a lot of hardwood floor, and my AC is pumping right now, so I know you can hear that. I mean, listen. I turned the grain all the way up on my mic, so you can hear it real loud. But 4 weeks, I'll have the studio completely finished.
Okay, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tight because I got a closet right next to my computer that I can turn into like a vocal booth.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna send you some photos. My phone's had to go somewhere else because.
But one other point about this is like.
Oh yeah, Jay, you know me. I go on tangents like a motherfucker.
How these big ass companies. I was talking about how they want to be ingrained in like into where like you have to. A matter of brand and marketing, well, this is one way they do it. Companies like Google, Alphabet or Google are the ones laying a lot of this groundwork with other governments. So like, they're spending billions to lay a lot of this cable, but what that does, it gives them absolute domination of control of what you see and how you get to what you see, and it just forces you to go.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, and
may not be in the future. I mean, the internet could live. Whoever controls all these hubs of these fiber optic cables is probably going to continue to get more and more and more corporatized, where you may see less freedom over the cables of what's allowed to, pass through it. How you're allowed to actually even navigate.
I'm gonna segue into something that makes sense, and this will make sense to you. But it's very close related to what you're saying.
Yeah, what's that?
So okay. I think I was talking to you about this the other day, but. I've been watching a lot of things from multiple different, news sources like, well, Vice one. Not to say that I don't like. I'm not like, ooh, if Vice says it, it's real. I think like 7-8 years ago, it wasn't like that. But now they're on HBO and all.
Yeah,
the
they've
shit.
gone a little bit corporate. Yeah.
So they got to be careful about what they say, regardless. Now, what I like about Vice is they got guys on the ground, like in like protests, like what I mean. It's pretty cool, and they go travel all over the world and talk about stories that you would have never fucking even known or heard, because the mainstream media is not going to fucking report on that, which is cool. And I really, really, that's what got me into Vice. Now, do I like how they've gone corporate on that? No. But I mean, where was I going with this?
What's the story that you saw? We were talking about internet. We were talking about.
The story I saw. Oh shit! Keep. Come on, I'm there. It's on the tip.
I was talking about the internet and fiber optic cables and how people will control, the flow of information. Eventually. So what we see right now is more freedom with the more autocracy, more dictatorial, of a style of controlling everything you see, hear, and watch, and
yeah. No. Okay. Now. Okay. I know where I kind of left off. Sometimes Ganja George, George Washington, sometimes those bills, they just get dirty, and they just they make me feel a different way.
Ganja
George, dude, you're fucking in Ganja George, fucking. No, Brad, Larry said that on that one podcast that we did. We were talking about Ben Franklin and all that shit, and you kept calling him. Larry called him Ganja George Washington.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember that.
And yeah. Oh, dude, I was listening to that episode earlier today, and you were all about Benjamin Franklin. Did you actually end up reading his autobiography?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did? How was that? Because I was
kind of in like that oldish, English kind of style. So sometimes.
So did you move to another historian that focuses on him?
No, it's actually the autobiography. So I didn't switch to a biography afterwards.
Well, that's not what you said on the pod that we dropped.
What?
You said that you're going to start with Ben Frank's thing,
autobiography. That's what I did.
Right. And then you said, then after that, I'm going to go read some, high quality, best, who studied, Ben Frank, and read his shit.
Well, I read the auto bio, and then, when I read, man, I got to switch it up almost, like every other book or so. Cause
yeah, I mean, I've been getting back into reading. I'll read. I'm getting better at it. I also watch a ton of just like documentaries.
eBay's a great place to get your books, man. Like I like to run through there. You can get books for like $4 or $3 sometimes. It's crazy. And most of the books that I want, and I don't know how I got. I mean, it was when I bought one of my new phones. They gave me the Apple Read app, or book app, or library app. It's like a real book, man. I like a book.
No. Dude, I got the Art of War. I've got tons of these Dean Koontz and Dean Koontz. Yeah,
the Koontz.
It's crazy. So my dad, just going on top here again to this man. He since I was like a child, I think I was 10. He got back into like reading, I guess, when he was like 40. I was like 10. I think anyway, he started reading all the time, and all he would read was Dean Koontz. He read every Dean Koontz book, and he went from not reading to reading like every night. And I'm talking knocking out a book every.
He went from not reading to reading Dean Koontz.
To reading Dean Koontz as we got him started. Like, he read every one of his books, and then he moved to the not Clear and Pleasant Harrison Ford or whatever the fuck his name is.
What's that? Tom Clancy.
Yeah, is it Jack Ryan or is it
I don't know. I was never a big fan of those books, but
well, I didn't read them either, but I mean, you know, he read The Stand, he read a bunch of Stephen King books and stuff. But Dean Koontz was his man. And then he moved on to all these other authors and shit. I can't keep up with it. But all I know is my dad got into it. He still does. He still reads like crazy. And then when COVID happened, Dean Koontz wrote a book. It's called the here it is. This is going to trip you out. I think I might have talked about this on the podcast back in February or maybe April. I don't know. Dean, I got to fact check myself. Dean Koontz. Hang on. Wuhan. So the name of the novel, the Dean Koontz, is The Eyes of Darkness, and it was in 1981. You should look this up. So there's some pretty incredible things. Now, a lot of people I remember seeing this and they're like, you know, there's fact checkers, all this shit, but was coronavirus predicted in 1981 in a Dean Koontz novel? And let's see, the name of it was The Eyes of Darkness. Now what's true? An image shows a genuine page from Dean Koontz novel, The Eyes of Darkness, containing words Wuhan 400. What's false? Dean Koontz did not predict an outbreak of new coronavirus other than they named his fight. I mean, regardless, it's very fuck. So you can look at these pictures if you're on the page and you can read what it's saying.
Yeah, no, I remember hearing about that actually.
But it's crazy. So I called my dad and we were still, on decent terms. And I told him about it. He goes, "What?" I go, "Look it up." He goes, "Taylor, Tiz, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Just look it up. You think I would make this up? Are you I don't understand." And I was like, "You know what? I'll just send you the link." And man, when I sent it to him, Dad, he was like, "That is insane."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it was insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know how valid it is or whatever the fuck, but anyways, tangent. But we can start to wrap it up. Is there anything else that you got, Two Oak? I know I already asked you that before I try and.
Well, I'll say this: I didn't think Bitcoin would ever hit 20K again. I didn't.
No, I knew. I did. I got screwed in 2017, 3 years ago at the same time. And
we didn't get screwed. You could have just held on to it, but
I could have. But you know what I did was, I'm not going to do my whole strategy. It was the first time I remember I even told you this back in the day when I started getting into it. I had just made a decent amount of money and I threw a lot of money into Stellar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I day traded the hell out of it. And it spiked, and I basically was just day trading it, boom, boom, hit buying the dips because you can do that all day on Bitcoin. And they take small fees for profits, but when you're there, anyways, I think I probably made day trading Stellar just back and forth for a month and taking big longer term holds, but I'd always take profits and just buy back in, scale out, scale in. And I made almost I think it was just south of 9,500, maybe 9,600, so almost 10K profit in a month period. And that's when I was getting all hyped up and telling you guys about Stellar and all that. And then what did I do? Right before the peak of Bitcoin's last high back 3 years ago, I bought, not at the peak, but I put that whole 10 grand profit into Bitcoin, and I think it was 3 days later, it just I mean, I will. I mean, it doesn't close, right? So I mean, I remember
Yeah, it was
when
just
I
dropping
took-
thousands a day. Thousands.
So, no, dude, thousands in hours, hours, and I ate 10 grand there. So I'm like, oh my god, like, is this just like? I mean, this is just a sell off. They're gonna sell the bottom. Like, you know, I'm like on a Discord channel back then. Like, what do we do? What do I do? They're like, just hold, and it went down to like, I don't know, eventually like $4,000, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, that hurts.
so I held that till it reached back up to like 12, and then I sold. I think that was in like spring of 19. So I took a little hit, and that's why.
So what do you see long term for? What do you see long term?
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Well, from everything I've read, honestly, I like, and I'm after everything that happened with me in Bitcoin, I've just never
A little
been
salty.
like, oh yeah. I'm a little salty, and I'm not. I like right now. It's basically at a spot what I bought
Where
in
you
last
lost the
time.
money last time. Exactly.
Exactly. So if I can like now that it's in now that it is a all-time high, it's harder to chart.
You know,
And it's
making it go up so much. A
uh
lot of these tech
huh?
companies with really big valuations are putting like 5%.
No. Well, also, what about the is it Square app?
Well, that's what
or
I'm
what
talking
do they
about.
do?
Like a lot of those companies, like they're not the only ones. There's a decent
PayPal.
there's a decent amount of companies putting about like 5% of their like free cash into Bitcoin just as like a investment alternative currency, you know, just like what you know.
Well,
what
on the PayPal app and I think on the Square app, you can now download that app and fucking trade cryptos on them.
yeah, so
So it's they're starting. They're like, okay, the first time this happened 3 years ago, you didn't have like companies like banks. Like IBM jumped on to Stellar, and that got me excited. But I don't know what's gonna happen to Stellar.
yeah.
They're not doing too hot. But what I'm getting at is, I think personally now this at the second round where it's going this high, and I think this is why a lot of firms or hedge funds or whatever, ARK Investment, whoever the fuck, think that it could go to. I mean, dude. I mean, I've seen. You know, they're saying in the next 3 years it could potentially go to like 300,000, 400,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Say it's based on nothing. If all these big companies continue to buy billions of dollars worth, then I guess, you know, it actually feasibly could happen because, you know, obviously the supply goes you know, the demand is going way higher as the supply is becoming slower. So, you know,
I think it's two things, Tuuk, in my opinion. Correct me or tell me if you disagree with my opinion. I think one, a lot of people are really are nervous about the US dollar. If you know, with the stimulus package. I mean, if you're smart and you understand inflation or deflation.
See, but I wonder about that because last time when you had like everybody was sky high and everybody was feeling all good, right, about the economy, Bitcoin was high, and then when the economy takes a big shit, it seemed like
that in 2017, 2018, early 2018. That was that was December of 2017. That was definitely just people like who had probably owned like, I don't know, like 100 Bitcoins. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
people
I feel better about this rally than I felt about that.
No, I know, because the last one, it was like, oh shit, we are at an all-time high. Like, some of these people were already like in the millions of profits with company, and they were like, fuck it, we're taking our profits, and everybody dumped.
Yeah, exactly. It was,
and but this is different because now you got
companies buying billions of dollars worth.
Square, this whole thing.
There's a lot of them.
No, I know, but what I'm getting at is like it's legitimately like happening. Like these big banks, like PayPal and Square,
JP Morgan's in on it. Yeah, there's a lot of.
I mean, IBM's on it, and blockchain is the best technology, in my opinion, about the whole thing anyway.
Well, sure, but that's always any of these other ones. Like, is there any reason that Bitcoin is a placeholder right now for like the idea of blockchain, but is Bitcoin actually the best?
It's a crypto gold. It's the gold of crypto right now.
Yeah.
And perfect. Another example. Typically, like, let's just talk about Chinese EV. The three that we know of. I don't want to share the names of the stocks, but
Well, why not?
Chinese
everybody need to know. Lee, you got Neo, and you got
okay. Wait, don't go LEE. Okay, wrong Lee. It's LI. Don't make the mistake.
They're not crazy like you are. They won't do such a thing. Neo,
it's all good. It's like
Lee and Xpeng are Chinese electric
XPEV.
And I even bought a little of that candy and did really well on it, but I don't advise.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
So just be careful, because today XP was all over the place. It was like,
all just reached. They fly so high, so fast.
I mean, they're still up though. It's crazy.
I think that they were good buys at when I got in on them, which was like $7 and $8 billion. I think that was a good time to buy. Now they're at valuations of 30 to 60. That's just stupid. That's,
I mean, I use a lot of my day trades the past 2 weeks, just like buying really expensive calls, but I am in it for a day trade, like and just buy it like at a really in the money, like short term contract though, deep in the money, and just. It's a day trade. So, or potential, unless the IB crush is so hard on those, because there's so much volatility.
Yeah. I think, I see, some good times for,
well, I made a lot of, that was the most aggressive trading I've ever done. Now I did very well and I got screwed on EO, but guess what? I'm almost rebounded back.
Nice.
To where I was again, just because some of these other companies we've been messing with, but I just think it's crazy because now I really understand it. Like, sometimes I don't even need. I take advice, see what other people are doing, but I bought some Pfizer calls right before market close today for pretty good price, and. I'm just still holding a lot of my energy stocks and some, ETF market stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and Pfizer. I
think if I was going to mess with anything for the next week on short-term trades, which I've been trying, I've been not doing. I've been trying to, just do a little bit more midterm holds. But
tomorrow I might make a day trade on Texas Instruments.
I think MGM, I think Wynn, I think even some of the Royal Caribbean, I think some of these guys are going to have a good week or two as the vaccine news keeps coming out. You're going to see some of these stocks popping for sure.
Energy stock for sure.
I think midstream, a lot of fracking companies are good.
Yeah, because oil's going back up. Anything that's like in the.
And then some of these blue chips that have just been in the shitter, I think GE.
I've been crushing it. GE has been printing me money.
Yeah, I've been
on a regular basis. I've just been buying all these calls, like 10. They were the $10 call. I bought like I bought 100 of those for $10 a piece.
Nice.
100 of them for $10 a piece. And
which one?
GE
Nice. Yeah, those are
11:15
probably worth a lot right now.
expiration,
Yeah.
$10 call. There's a ton of open interest. So when I was getting them like a month and a half ago, they were $10 a piece. I scaled in a little bit. I think my average price is probably 13 something.
Okay.
Because I like kept scaling it, whatever. And then all of a sudden, dude, when the election shit happened, like that next week, when everything just kind of boomed, like I was up so much on those, sold those for a profit. And then I went back the next day, they were back down to like $12 a fucking it. And there was so much open interest. It was insane. I was like, well, something's got to be up with this call. Like, why is there was like almost 1 million open interest.
Yeah.
But very low. I was like, what? I was like, there's got to be something that people know. Why are there so many? I've never seen anything like that. And, anyways, I just kept.
GD's kind of interesting right now. I mean, you can buy a lot of calls for pretty cheap. I mean,
oh yeah, no, that's why I've been doing it. It's been insane.
And I think I'm going to buy some long, like January 22nd, 2022s. I like them long terms.
Yeah, and like, dude, just get like, what are you gonna do? Like a in the money or out?
I'll probably do just out of the money, long term, real long term. I like those because you're buying, 100 years.
It's guaranteed to at least hit that and probably go further
at some point in those next. Yeah, exactly.
And then you could always exercise too.
Exactly.
if you're that far low, I mean, think about how much like the difference between stock prices could potentially.
I've never exercised any of my options, but I
haven't either. No, there was. I was thinking about doing it the other day.
The dollar Neo, I'll probably exercise eventually, and then the dollar, some of the fracking company ones that I have at $1 and stuff like those, I might just for the heck of it, but
yeah,
it's still silly if it hits a high, like just sell first, but.
Yeah, I mean, I made a couple mistakes. I should have sold some of my, just some contracts today. And I did. They're far expiration, so I was like, whatever, it'll go back, especially until the vaccine news hits. But I bought into. I own a lot of Pfizer shares, and then I own a lot of. I bought like 5 of the PFE contracts.
Okay.
11.15, $38 strike. Got it for about. I think I already said that earlier, but that's something definitely I would say look into because of the news about the whatever the fuck the approval day of December 10th or something.
Yeah. Well, I'd say.
Yeah. Good talk, man. Thanks for being on the show. I was gonna say I thought I had one more thing I wanted to bring up. I just can't remember. I think hang on. I thought I marked this shit, man. Tiz, you gotta get your fucking shit together. Well, on that note, Tiz fam, thanks for listening. But yeah, no, on the real though, I am trying to get like really more serious, like about some of these like side projects that I do over, what I normally do. I really do want to like, just because the whole mental health thing, like I think I want to make a point of like at least trying to do that, like, if I'm dropping once a week, then every other week, like spend 20 minutes just on like discussing, like, because like I know plenty of people who are going through some like, anxiety and dealing with shit that and I totally get it. I mean, I've gone through it because of this whole goddamn COVID at one point when I was living at that old house with who. And because I was alone for 6 weeks, I didn't see anybody, and it was weird. But it made me get more creative, made me do things, which I think was the best. But what I'm getting at is just like this whole new, and like I just know that like there's those times like I'm sure some other people can relate to this. Like you're just kind of like. it's almost depressing when you're alone. I mean, too woke. You're married. You got someone with you, but when you're not, and I'm not like complaining. It was just like I've never ever been alone for that long.
Yeah.
Like alone,
I hear you.
And it was weird. And it was like, well, how am I going to meet like like some chick? Cause like the bars are closed. Like, what do you do? So I was like, what? I'm ramping up the pod. I'm getting more in the music. I'm doing stocks and just working, man. And but anyways, it's weird. It's just like this whole year. It started. I'll do it real quick. It started with the Australia fires. Then you had Kobe. Then you had the bombing on the Iraqi or Iranian. What's his name?
Oh gosh, what is that dude's name?
Fuck. Second in command of
what the hell was that guy's name? Geez, I can't remember, man.
It's all good. Then it was like, okay, maybe we're going into World War III, right? And then all of a sudden we started hearing about this coronavirus, right? Like it was a joke, and then all of a sudden shit got real. And then and then now we're in lockdown. Stock market's like fucking tanking, and then stimulus package come out, and then we're in lockdown, and there's that and the other. And then all of a sudden you got the biggest global protest ever. I mean, this is insane. And then after that, you have higher cases and all this shit again, and then. What else happened? More protests, many more
George
protests,
Floyd.
and then George Floyd, and then you had the fucking the election shit starting up, and then what else now? And then Trump got COVID, and people went and took all this fucking toilet paper out of the grocery stores. Fucking what? And then and now we're dealing with this.
And now you got Joe Biden.
So and the stock market's up.
Yeah, it loves it, man. All this.
I thought it was so funny how he walked out on TV and did that today.
Yeah.
Claiming he's just like, that's all. It's like there again, it proves that's like all he cares about, the stock market. Like, great, the stock market's up. That doesn't mean the economy is influenced. Anyways, one of that.
One thing people gotta quit, and fine, I'll give him his props for his stock market, okay, regardless, just whatever. But one thing people gotta realize is he raised, even before COVID, the national debt at a historic level with a good economy. So
yeah.
So, it was kind of, it's up, but it kind of, you know what I mean? Like should have been running a surplus with such a great economy, but instead you're running major debt, and then the coronavirus hits, and man, just racking it up, so that's why the market's
up. Oh yeah, that we talked about that on one of our last ones.
Tuesday.
Huh?
I was talking to Em.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, hey, let's wrap it up anyway.
Yeah. No, we're done. I was just making sure. All right. Well, yeah. Tiz fam, thanks for joining. We hope you enjoyed the show. Two Oak, you want to just say a quick little peace out, and I'll say mine, and we out of here.
Yeah, man. I think like you were just touching on, if you're having any issues right now, then maybe it's time to try something new too. If some of you out there are trying.
Also, you're sorry, you're not to cut you, but you are not alone. Like, you think you're the only one going out? Like, you feel the way you do? Like, no, dude. Like, I go through it. Like, there are so many people that are like struggling mentally who probably didn't think they ever had like anxiety and stuff, but it's kicked in now because of the whole situation.
Read and build up that inner dialogue with yourself, and you'll be better off than you were before COVID. So,
hey, it's just one day at a time. Just just do your thing. But
get some mushrooms.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to condone it,
I do.
but I mean, okay, yeah, okay. Well, listen. I don't advise, but I always tell people that it is wise, but I don't advise to at least try mushrooms one time, because you will see the world in a different way while you're on them. One, but when you wake up the next day, like, you still see the world in the way that you saw it. It changes your perspective in a sense, like, especially if you see some cool stuff.
Yeah, just listen to like your favorite tunes. Hopefully you listen to some real shit. Like, don't listen to any bubblegum bullshit, but go listen to some like Pink
Some
Floyd.
bubblegum bullshit.
Go listen to some Pink Floyd. Go listen to some some Zeppelin. Go listen to some, some real good stuff, some, Horse with No Name. Go jam some of that old school acid music, man, and you're going to appreciate what you do, how your night goes, and get a big box of that high pulp orange juice. And you just sip that all night long.
Yeah, that is the shit. And
eat light. Eat light before. Don't eat all crazy heavy. Eat light or eat hours before. That way you're good to go when you get on the mushrooms, man.
Yeah. Because you don't want to do them on an empty stomach.
You don't want to eat a steak either and then get on them, so.
Yeah. But it's something to maybe think about, Tiz fam. Just letting you know. The music sounds so good. But anyways, Tiz is out. Thanks again, guys. I don't know what we're gonna call this episode, but I will figure it out. I'll leave you guys with a few messages.
Call this episode "Do Shrooms."
No, I'm not doing that. If you can think of something a little bit more clever, but like, not that's not gonna work. But if you can come up with something cool, I'll do it. But anyways, I'd like to just say, thank you for listening to this, fam. You have your legal duties, please. If you like this show, if you don't like the show, that's fine. But if you like the show and it entertains you, will you please just do your duties to his family? You just please tell at least one person a week about this show, and then try and go on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. I mean, those are the
try. You don't have to just try.
Just give it a shot. It takes 2 seconds, literally. Like, I mean, if you're listening to this, all you gotta do is like scroll up and just give me a 5-star rating. It's a duty. It's a duty. Tell one other person at least a week, and that's all we ask. That's all we ask. It's your legal duty for listening to the show.
Yeah.
And and on another note, I'm gonna now that I said that we are gonna do the mental health thing. But anyways, going on. Sorry. The Tiz doesn't. Well, I'm gonna steal this one from Stiz again. Okay. Holler at the Tiz for honor, to getting honor, to staying honor. If you can't come in her, come on her. Sorry, Stiz, with your lowercase s. And I always like to just leave it with, hey, Tiz fam, get your mind correct. Okay. And then keep your mind correct, because that's obviously the hardest part, keeping it correct. It's easy to go right back to having to get it back together again. And then basically just the Tiz doesn't ask why. He asks why not. All right, 2-0. Good stuff. I'll get this thing wrapped up and edited and all of that. And thanks for always being on the show, Mr. 2-0. Pretty much now my co-host, because I don't really, unless you guys can get your podcast going back, the Sustainable Insanity. It's like every time I run a show, you're on the show. Which is awesome. I love it.
I was thinking about doing. I'm learning how to do some construction jobs and stuff right now with some flips. Maybe I'll do a episode on that, and you can.
We'd always like to talk about different things, and I'd like to start talking a little bit more about what I do.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, man. Well, peace.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being on the show. I'll holler at you tomorrow, I think.
See you, man.
All right. Later, buddy.